In the very interesting lesson Heredity and Variation, we now come to the section 3 or final section of the lesson dealing with genetic disorders. Genetic disorders are of 4 types. The first one are chromosomal abnormalities, and some of the diseases are Down syndrome, Turner syndrome and Klein syndrome. The next type of genetic disorder is called monogenic disorder, and an example is albinism and sickle cell anemia. The third type of genetic disorder is a mitochondrial disorder, and an example is Leber hereditary optic neuropathy. And the fourth and final type of genetic disorder is a polygenic disorder, and some examples are cleft palate, diabetes, obesity, heart problems, etc. Diseases or disorders occurring due to abnormalities in chromosomes and mutation in genes are called genetic disorders. Abnormalities, some defect in the chromosome, and mutations in genes, sudden changing of the pattern of genes. These are the two reasons that we have genetic disorders. Chromosomes in women are 44 plus XX, and in men they are 44 plus XY. 44 normal chromosomes and 2 sex chromosomes. If we look into the number of chromosomes in human cells, there are sex-related types, the types of genes on the chromosomes that are dominant and recessive. We can find out where these genetic disorders come from and how they are inherited. So there's a science of finding out where these genetic disorders they start or they begin from, okay, and how they are inherited. The first type of genetic disorder due to chromosomal abnormalities, some defect in the chromosomes. So the first type of abnormality is the Down 46 plus 1, also called the trisomy of the 21st chromosome. This Down syndrome is the first chromosomal disorder that was discovered in human beings. A person with Down syndrome has this particular look. Infants have one extra chromosome with the 21st pair in every cell of the body. Now you know that human beings have 46 chromosomes and 23 pairs. Now all the pairs will be fine except that in the 21st pair there is one extra chromosome. That means that now instead of 46 there will be 46 plus 1, and that 1 will be added with the 21st pair. So therefore they have 47 chromosomes. Children are usually mentally retarded, have a short lifespan, they don't live very long, and they have a short height, short wide neck, flat nose, short fingers, very thin hair, and some other symptoms. The second type of disorder due to chromosomal abnormalities is called Turner syndrome or monosomy of the X chromosome. Mono meaning one. Now, abnormalities in sex chromosomes can also cause some disorders. Now when we see in Down syndrome had a problem with the 21st pair of chromosomes, which are normal chromosomes. Whereas Turner syndrome now has abnormalities in the 23rd pair, that is the sex chromosomes. Now, there is only one X chromosomes inherited from parents, or inactivation of gender-related part of X chromosome, which causes Turner syndrome. So either the child inherits only one X chromosome, or that X chromosome is not active. Now, instead of normal 44 plus XX, women suffering from this syndrome show 44 plus X. So you know that women have 44 plus XX. Therefore, when there is only one X, this Turner syndrome affects only women. And these women are sterile, meaning they cannot give birth to young ones. This is the hand of a baby suffering from Turner syndrome. The third disorder due to chromosomal abnormalities is the Klinefelter syndrome. And here we have 44 plus XXY. Now this disorder arises in men due to again abnormality in the sex chromosome. Men have one extra X chromosome and their chromosomal condition becomes 44 plus XXY. Such men are sterile as their reproductive organs are not well developed. So the Turner syndrome was to do with women who become sterile, not being able to reproduce, and Klinefelter syndrome in which men have one extra chromosome and they are sterile. Now, if you look at these figures here, the normal female has 46 X and X. Normal male 46 and they have X and Y. Now the female having Turner syndrome will have only 45 because there will be 44 plus only one X, whereas the male who's suffering from Klinefelter syndrome will have 47. Okay, 44 normal plus 2X and 1Y. The second type of disorder called monogenic disorders, and these are disorders due to mutation in any single gene. So suddenly the gene pattern changes in only one gene and it becomes defective. And because it is only dealing with one gene, it is called monogenic disorder, where again mono meaning one. Now, there are approximately 4,000 disorders of this type, 4,000 monogenic disorders. For example, Hutchinson's disease, Tay-Sachs disease, night blindness. Okay. Now, we will deal with the first one called albinism. Okay. In this disease, the body cannot produce the pigment melanin required to give color to the body. So you can see here, this child is not able to produce melanin, which is the color pigment, and therefore he is so pale. Skin therefore is pale, hair white, eyes pink because of the absence of melanin in the retina and the eye and the sclera. So this type of a child is called a child having the monogenic disorder called albinism. These are the different types of diseases like cleft lip. Look at the lip here, cut lip here. It's attached, to the nose. Then we have Tay-Sachs disease. This is a person who has Tay-Sachs disease. And this is Hutchinson's disease, where a child starts aging very quickly. Now, the second type of monogenic disorder which we have to study is the sickle cell anemia. Okay, so normal hemoglobin has glutamic acid as the 6th amino acid. Okay, now if this sixth amino acid called glutamic acid is replaced by valine, the shape and structure of the hemoglobin molecule changes. Okay, this is the red blood corpuscles or the erythrocytes, the normal one, this biconcave flat type. And when we have the disease, we get the second type of figure where we have the blood cells turning into sickle shapes. Now, erythrocyte or red blood corpuscles, which are normally biconcave, they become sickle shape. And because they become so thin, their oxygen carrying capacity is very low. They don't carry much oxygen because now they become very thin. Also clumping, that is getting together, joining and becoming a lump, and destruction of these blood vessels take place. Hence, blood vessels are obstructed. The circulatory system, brain, lungs, kidney, etc. are damaged. Now, sickle cell anemia is a hereditary disease. It comes from parents to the offspring. It occurs due to changes in the genes when fertilization is taking place, or conception, or the birth of starting of the formation of the child. If the father and mother both have this disease, the offspring of the child is likely to suffer from it too. Hence, marriages between people who suffer or carry the sickle cell anemia disease should be avoided. Now, what are the symptoms? Swelling of hands and legs, pain in the joints, body aches, frequent colds and cough, constant low fever, tiredness or exhaustion, pale face, you don't look very healthy, low hemoglobin content. So this is quite a dangerous disease. Now, sickle cell anemia, these are AA stands for normal, AS stands for carrier, and SS stands for sufferer. So if two normal man and woman, they give birth to the progeny or the baby will be normal. If you have one carrier and one normal person, then 50% of the progeny will be normal, 50% will be carriers. Now, if we have one sufferer and one carrier, all the progeny will be carriers. If we have two carriers, then 25% of the progeny will be normal, 25 will be sufferers, and 50% will be carriers. So this is definitely not allowed, a marriage between two carriers. Further, more dangerous, a marriage between carrier and a sufferer. So then 50% chances of the child being carrier and 50% of a sufferer. Once again, this is not allowed. And lastly, the most dangerous, if two people suffering from sickle cell anemia marry, all progeny will be sufferers, and therefore that should not happen. There are two types of persons affected by sickle cell anemia. That is, one is the carrier and one is the sufferer. Now, under the National Health Mission Scheme, which the government has organized, the solubility test is taken for the diagnosis, to come to know, of the sickle cell anemia, and it's available at all district hospitals. Now, to confirm that you have sickle cell anemia, there is another test performed at all rural and sub-district hospitals called electrophoresis. Now, what are the remedies for sickle cell anemia? What should we do if you have sickle cell anemia? Is spread only by reproduction. Therefore, husband and wife should get their blood examined before marriage. And a carrier or sufferer should avoid marriage with another carrier or sufferer. Okay, so that they don't have children who are sufferers. A sufferer should take a folic acid tablet, some type of iron tablet every day. The third type of genetic disorder, mitochondrial disorder. Mitochondrial DNA also can become defective due to mutation. During fertilization, mitochondria are contributed only by the egg cell and not by the sperm. Hence, these disorders are inherited by the mother alone. And one example is Leber heredity optic neuropathy. Now, what are the symptoms of this? Blurring, clouding of vision, usually the first symptoms, okay, affecting the main or the central, middle visual way in which people see, the middle part. Severe loss of visual acuity, that is sharpness of vision. We see everything blurred, and after some time the color also changes. We can't see proper colors. Loss of ability to complete things that require us to look or to see, like reading, driving, and recognizing faces. Now, this affects predominantly young adult males. The fourth type of genetic disorder, called polygenic disorder. Now, diseases which have mutations in more than one gene are called polygenic disorders. In most cases, the severity of these polygenic disorders increase due to environmental factors on the fetus. So not only we inherit the mutated genes, but after some time this disease will become more and more severe because of the surrounding or the environmental factors. Now, these disorders do not strictly follow Mendel's principles of heredity, and they arise due to a complex interaction between environment, lifestyle, and defects in several genes. So it is not only we get defective genes, but the surroundings or the environment and the lifestyle that we lead also cause these disorders. Example, spina bifida, which is a spinal cord defect, diabetes, heart disorders, asthma, etc. Now, spina bifida, the spinal cord of a baby, fails to develop well. Diabetes, a disease that causes high blood sugar, and cleft palate, another polygenic disorder, an opening or split in the roof of the mouth. If you put your tongue up, the roof of your mouth has an opening or a cut there. That is called cleft palate. Tobacco addiction. People who consume or take in tobacco by burning, or like in cigarettes or cigars or BDs, or by eating it, these people can get cancer. Smoking affects digestion, causes a burning sensation in the throat, cough, trembling of fingers, and sleeplessness. It also can lead to shortening of your life. Chronic bronchitis, the lungs will be constantly affected. Some heart disease, cancer of the lungs, mouth, larynx, pharynx, pancreas, urinary bladder. Okay, now the harmful effects of smoking are due to nicotine, which is present in tobacco, affects the central and the peripheral nervous system, the main organs of the body. Okay, now arteries or the blood vessels which carry pure blood, oxygenated blood, become hard, which causes arteriosclerosis and high BP or hypertension. Now, tobacco contains harmful chemicals, very harmful, like pyridine, ammonia, aldehyde, furfural, carbon monoxide, nicotine, sulfur dioxide, etc. Okay. Now, these chemicals cause uncontrolled cell division. Suddenly, the cell begins to divide more and more, causing cancer. Okay. While chewing tobacco or its products, it is absorbed in the body. These are tobacco products. Now, excessive tobacco consumption may cause cancer of the lips, tongue. Visual disorders means you won't be able to see properly, and tremors means shaking of the hands and the body parts. Okay, therefore, avoid smoking and consuming tobacco products in any form. Okay, 31st May is World No Tobacco Day. Look at these statistics. Tobacco kills around 7 million people in a year. Nearly 80% of the world's 1 billion smokers live in LMICs, that is, in low and middle income, developing and underdeveloping countries. Okay, and 12.2% of all deaths that take place in these countries are due to tobacco. So tobacco is not to be even thought about. Forget about consuming it.